show that is 3 dimensions away from Happy Gilmore being called Happy. I'm our host 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Happy Gilmore, released in 1996. Happy Gilmore is directed by Dennis Duncan and is written by Tim O'Hurley and Adam Sandler. The movie stars Adam Sandler, Christopher McDonald, Julia Bowen, and Carl Weathers. The movie is essentially a movie about a guy called Happy Gilmore, played by Adam Sandler, who wants to be a hockey player so bad, and he has anger issues, and he essentially wants to be it so bad that he keeps getting cut from the team, and his anger issues prevail best of him, to where he just won't get anywhere, and his girlfriend leaves him and everything. And then once it comes up to his grandmother, who he lived with his entire life, her house is getting evicted. She's losing all of her stuff. She's getting evicted, thrown on the street, and all of her stuff's getting sold because she hasn't paid her taxes in years. So essentially, Happy ends up in a golf tournament after he learns he could play golf, and decides to compete in the PGA Tour just so he can get her the money to get her house back and all of her belongings. I've always found this movie to be a fantastic movie. Like, this is Adam Sandler. Like, everybody always says, there's like three Adam Sandler goldmine movies. People always say the three big movies people say is like Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and The Waterboy. Those are usually the three movies that people say are perfect Adam Sandler movies. And some people say Big Daddy, but like, when you think of three Adam Sandler movies, those are the three usually. Or you know what I'm saying? Probably, not 50, Waterboy. Probably would be like 50 First Dates, because usually everybody likes those three movies. It's usually 50 First Dates, Happy Gilmore, and the what's it called? Billy Madison. Those are the three movies. And Adam Sandler apparently loves this movie so much to where he ended up calling his production company Happy Madison. To which I'm a really big fan of, Happy Madison movies. Like, I do get a reputation because me and my dad love Happy Madison movies. Like, we watch every time. My dad's a truck driver, so every time he comes home, we always end up watching Adam Sandler movies. Like, there always is one on, and we always end up. I've seen every single Adam Sandler movie made, and I've seen it more than once. And so when we heard Happy Gilmore 2 was coming out, we were ecstatic. And yeah, we watch every single Adam Sandler movie ever made. Like, if it's an Adam Sandler movie, we've seen it. Yes, even his one where he goes overboard on the ship, like going overboard or whatever it's called. Like, we've seen that one too. Yeah, so we've seen it. And so really, yeah, I really love this movie a lot. I like the fact that you see, this movie, this is a guy who literally, you're not supposed to root for him, but because it's a guy with anger issues who is just literally just beats up people and gets angry and just curses. And like, this is just a foul mouthed guy who, if you met him in real life, you would hate this guy because he's such an asshole. And you just don't want to be in the same room as him, let alone watch him play golf. And I like how it is kind of the way, if you look at Happy Gilmore now, it is kind of the way how like influencers and social media people have taken over the internet, where essentially originally was about people like nerds debating about Star Wars, or people just buying stuff on eBay, or people, and then people started posting their reviews for movies, and then it became YouTube circle. Then it eventually became, now it's like the podcast circle, and now the influencer circle. And so I feel like that kind of is like, and I like there's an idea in this movie how it attracts, where Happy Gilmore, like, it's just like it's an old white guy sport where people play golf, where like Happy attracts like younger audiences to golf, where it's like it pisses off the villain of the movie, played by Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin, who literally just, he hates Happy Gilmore and everything he stands for, because he literally is like, okay, he's ruining the golf, he's making it a joke and a mockery. And like, there's a one where he tells like the head of the PGA Tour, I saw two bikers in the woods having sex. Okay, this guy is literally ruining it by drawing these freaks into this game. And I thought that was a really good line. And I know it feels like, it's kind of like the idea of, okay, it's like, oh, if you like, Happy Gilmore's the kind of guy, if he moves into your neighborhood, you're like, oh my God, he's going to attract a lot of people are going to come in, and they're going to like ruin the neighborhood, and then the property values are going to go down. It's kind of like that situation in a way. And I like the fact that him playing the game, he just wants to make money and go. And I think honestly, I've always watched this and said, wouldn't it be easier if Shooter McGavin's getting really embarrassed, if he just writes Gilmore a check, he would probably fuck off. I'm just saying, like, he's just doing it for money. I mean, I think that's the crazy, which I know later in the movie he does do something like that, where essentially after Happy Gilmore gets into a fight with Bob Barker, he literally then buys the house just so he could tell him, look, if you sign, I will sign the house over to you. All you have to do is, just quit the PGA Tour, and that's all he has to do. And I mean, and that's what and Adam Sandler's like, okay, and then it's like, if it wasn't for his girlfriend talking him into it, which I do like her in the movie. Like, she's not just eye candy; she's actually a character that's literally trying to help him be a better person, because this guy literally just goes around like throwing, like, beating up people, and just like has anger issues, to where at one point he's about to get kicked off the tour for his violent outburst, and him just doing crazy stuff, knocking people, assaulting people, and stuff, which in real life would never happen, okay? Never in a million years would happen. He would be kicked off the tour before it even began by that kind of reactions and stuff. And also, like, you can't, like, and there's, like, some stuff that people would argue, and there are some stuff in this movie that are not true. Like, I remember watching it, and my dad's like, first off, if a ball lands on someone's foot, you would not, they would tell you to, like, they'd do a par, and, like, you gotta go, you could shoot it over here. They would not make you play, do it as is. Or if it goes into, like, Tiger Woods knocks his ball into the woods, you think they're gonna be like, okay, you gotta play it as is in the woods? No, they're gonna say, all right, we'll get you a new ball and you'll be right here if you can't find it. All right, you know, and I mean that's, and also, yeah, like, and especially if he when he gets hit by a car, they're like, and everything, like, they would have to clear all that debris up when he gets hit by the car. They would also do an investigation, and the police would come and all this stuff, and the tour would be canceled, and stuff like that, and and also, which, like, the guy just runs away. By the way, like, there's a guy, a heckler in the movie, which there, and also, like, there's a heckler in the movie where this guy just keeps calling everyone a jackass and making a mess up. They would kick that guy out of here. They would not let him stay and sit there and heckling. Like, if a guy goes up there and heckles Tiger Woods, they would say, nah, sir, you gotta leave now, go. Because, I think that's there's some unrealistic, you gotta turn your brain off stuff for. I do like that, by the way, he puts his grandmother into a house. There's a couple of moments that make me laugh, like the one where his girlfriend breaks up with him, and then he goes, fine, go away. He's on the voice thing going, fine, go away. Oh, come on, baby, I love you. And this, like, old Asian woman shows up, and then everything, and then he ends up screwing her the next day. He leaves, and all of a sudden, this woman's wearing nothing but his jersey, and goes, hey, you want cereal? I thought that was so great and everything. And the scene also, I love the scene where, he's, the scene where at the beginning where, like, he gets cut from the hockey team, or where he doesn't even get invited on the hockey team, and they're like, better luck next year, and then he just beats up the guy. That's great. And also, the backstory of how he became, lived with his grandmother, that's a great story as well. And there's also, Carl Weathers, who, rest in peace, is great in this movie as well, where he's like, like, it's like, he said, I used to play golf, but I can't anymore. He goes, they won't let me. I was like, why? Because you're black? He goes, hell no. Damn alligator broke and bit my hand off. He goes, damn. He goes, it's like, just like, that is really funny. And then he goes and kills the alligator. Later in the movie, to, like, a show appreciation to Chubbs, he literally kills the alligator that took his hand. And then scares the shit out of him so much that it goes out the window and dies. It's such a dark joke, but it's so good. It's so funny. I'm just like, it's so dark, but it's so funny. Where he's like, ah, and he falls out the window and dies. And by the way, there's a running gag where there's a guy just shakes his head every time Adam Sandler does something crazy in the movie. He just shakes his guy just stands there going, it's just so ridiculous, but it's so funny. And then, like, Christopher McDonald has some, like, he's like a psycho in this movie, where this dude gets crazier and crazier as the movie goes on, to where he goes, I used to eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. And I was like, really? You used to eat pieces of shit for breakfast? He goes, no. Stuff like that. And then, there's a moment where he's like, like, he says, like, he literally, like, says, he says, let's settle this right now. Then Adam Sandler takes a beer bottle, breaks it, and goes, let's go. He goes, I'm in it, golf. Like, just like one-ups, or like, he says, do as I say, you'll say. He says, or you can make some hay. You can hang out by the bay, make some clay, what you say? Just, just stuff like that. He's one-upping him. Or, and then at the end, when he literally, like, he insults, like, the guy who played Jaws in the James Bond movie, and the guy takes his, like, he takes his club and just bends it in half, and then he goes, oh my god, and then he runs away. And then later on, when Happy West steals his jacket and runs away, and the Jaws chase after him and beats him up. That's so great, and stuff like that. Just really makes it's a fun movie, and I think a lot of people should see it if you haven't. It's such a great film, and There are even some funny montage where he thinks about a happy place, and then like later he thinks about Shitter McGavin, his happy place, where he's making out with his girl, then he's making out with his grandmother, and his grandmother's wearing the jeans men's kiss mask, and then he sticks his whole mouth in the fake tongue. It's like, oh god, and just stuff like that is what's so great about this movie. And it's a really fun movie, and also the Bob Barker fight scene is so funny, especially when he says, "The price is wrong, bitch," and Bob Barker grabs my throat, beats him, and goes, "I think you had enough, bitch." And he goes, "Okay, I'm sorry." It's like, just stuff like that is what really makes this movie a fun movie. It's a really funny movie. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry I spoiled it for you, but it's a great movie. You have to recommend watch it before you watch the second one. If I had to give this movie a grade, I'm sorry, but this is a 10 out of 10 A+ movie. Thank you so much.
Sharpton for president, y'all. I'm outie.
Jesse Jackson for VP.